Distinct pleasure to invite Her Excellency Ms. Annalena Baerbock, President of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, to address the plenary. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Vice President of Brazil, Geraldo Alckmin, Co-President, dear Andre, Executive Secretary, dear Simon, Excellencies, Ministers, distinguished delegates, citizens around the world. What better place to meet here in Brazil on the 10th anniversary of the Paris Agreement, but also the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, than the birthplace of the UNFCCC. Congratulations to Brazil and to the people and the government for this COP for the forest, but also for the COP for the people. Speaking today as President of the General Assembly of the United Nations, I can assure you, in these heavy geopolitical times, we all feel the headwinds and the backlashes. But this is not a moment of resignation. It's a moment of action. Those of us who have spent years in climate process know that the COP journey has never been one of easy, linear progress. It always came and it always comes in ebbs and flows. Through late nights and endless negotiations, we learned to push through the despair of Copenhagen and carried forward the triumph of Paris. That is why, especially as we celebrate 10 years of Paris, which is a long time span if we look at the effects of climate crisis, but very short-term for international diplomacy, I want to focus on the flows, on the momentum of the last 10 years. Because hope and courage, when shared, can be contagious. And because, frankly, we do not have the luxury of wallowing when people are counting on us. The climate crisis is unrelenting. It pays no heed to our frustration or to the denial of skeptics. We saw this when Hurricane Melissa barreled into the Caribbean 2 weeks ago. We saw it again last week at the Philippines, endured to near back-to-back typhoons. As the Prime Minister of the Bahamas said during UN high-level week in September, I quote, "We do not have the luxury of restarting an esoteric conversation about the causes of climate change. Our living reality means that we simply do not have the time." End of quote. So let us look to the flows, to the positive shaping of our future. First, the unstoppable rise of clean energy. The Paris Agreement mentioned renewable energies only once. Those of you who have been there, you have to look for it in the papers. Many even doubting the potential of renewable energy. Talking about phasing out of coal was seen as almost sacrilegious. And now, today, 10 years later, short period in international diplomacy, we are transitioning away from fossil fuels altogether. We decided so 2 years ago. And renewable energies are cheap. They are now scalable. They are now the fastest growing source of power, accounting for 90% of new energy installation globally in 2024. We speak so often about tipping points in negative terms, but there are also the positive tipping points too. And this is one of them, maybe the most important one. You can demonize clean energy all you want, but 10 years after Paris, renewables are simply unstoppable. As they say, it's the economy, stupid. No investor wants stranded assets. In 2024, global investment in clean energy, as Simon Steele said, reached $2 trillion. 800 billion more than in fossil fuels. Our task now is to ensure that this innovation and the financing thereof reaches everyone, everywhere, especially those who have yet to benefit on it, especially on the African continent, because this was also the promise of Paris. The second flow is that innovation is no longer confined to a few countries or few investors. We are innovating together interconnectedly. From last week's World Social Summit in Doha to the SDGs, from the Paris Agreement to Sevilla, from the Global Digital Compact to the new finance instruments emerging here in Belém, our job is to converge these agenda intersectoral. As early warning systems, resilient infrastructure, community preparedness are being transformed through digital tools that advance social justice and climate action at the same time. Social justice and climate actions are the same coin, the same two sides of the coin. It's already happening around the globe. It's happening on the ground. Just days ago, I met a young woman, a CEO, who developed a solar-powered, AI-enabled water purification device, crucial for flood-prone communities. That is the future. The third flow is this: the money exists. It simply needs to be redirected. In a world of abundance, the problem is not the availability of capital as such. It is where that capital goes. Last year alone, developing countries paid roughly $1.4 trillion in external debt servicing. Imagine what could be achieved if some of that burden were lifted and those resources reallocated to climate mitigation, clean energy, resilience and adaptation. We could forge stronger public-private partnerships. We could expand concessional finance. We could deliver on the Baku to Belém roadmap. As I said, this climate process comes in ebbs and flows. You may ask why I chose today, at the beginning of the high-level segment and the heavy negotiations about the flows. It's not naivety. It is because I have felt frustrated by global setbacks. But I've also been inspired time and again since Paris by the courage and determination of people who across regions and sectors pushed forward despite the headwinds. We have seen this movie before, and we know how it goes. Let us not wallow. The solutions are all out there, all over the world. We now have to connect them by focusing on our strongest and greatest strength, cross-regional cooperation. This is a new form of multilateralism. Or as you say here in Brazil, let us have a mutirão, meaning everybody joining forces. This collective power is stronger than ever. People, governments, businesses, finance actors. And the good news is, if flows are moving in the right direction, they are simply unstoppable. I thank you.